Ran Zheng had already built a storied career at Amgen when she took the biotech dive with Orchard Therapeutics, where she served as CTO for a few years before being tapped on the shoulder as hire number one at Landmark Bio in 2021. I'm Matt Pillar.
And I'm Ben Comer.
And this is the Business of Biotech JP Morgan edition.
We're here in San Francisco with Ran for a talk on how she's applying a diverse history of biologic therapeutic development experience to her role at Landmark, building and deploying next-generation cell and gene therapy manufacturing technology. Ran, thanks for joining us, and it's great to see you.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I know it's a very busy week for you, so I appreciate you coming along to spend some time with us. And I want to get the show off the ground here by talking a little bit about you specifically. As I noted, you were Landmark's first hire, which is pretty cool. I'm sure there's a pretty interesting story there because the company's grown substantially in subsequent years. But what were you doing prior, and why did you kind of take that leap to Landmark?
Yeah, great question. I have been very fortunate to work with a great group of people at a great company. Spent 16 years at Amgen, worked in different products, in different functions. The last few years while I was with Amgen, I had opportunity to touch on some unique modalities, neoantigen, oncolytic virus, siRNA. I was awestruck by this new class of medicine and the transformative potential those medicines can bring to patients. I worked on a lot of biologic products. Most of them are treatment, not cure. Some of the cell and gene therapy products have a curative potential, and they're once and done, and allow patients to live normal life. It's just amazing, and I want to see more of those products on the market. And I also observed some gaps in the development and the commercialization of cell and gene therapies, and I thought a lot what we have learned in biologics development and commercialization can be applied to this field and help accelerate the development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, many of those gaps remain. I want to pause there for a minute and talk about some of those gaps.
Yeah.
Many of those gaps remain gaps around manufacturability for one, but then beyond manufacturability, when we get past that hurdle, distribution, administration. Did you feel like Landmark might give you an opportunity to play a role in kind of addressing those challenges too, or?
Yeah, maybe I'll also pause a moment and to maybe kind of a recap and regroup my thought here. So I wouldn't call it Landmark Bio gave me the unique opportunities. Maybe what I could just anchor on what Landmark Bio was set up to do is to remove some of the bottlenecks in the early days of cell and gene therapy development. And what the opportunity we have there is not just just from the technology perspective, but also really partner with other companies to help address some of the challenges we have seen in this space. So maybe what I can, if you can just let me know what some of your questions.
I know. I pulled that one out of left field, so we can
no. I have not seen the briefing because I know. Kathy said that you have some briefing, but I didn't get a chance to.
That's all right. That's okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: when you left Amgen for Landmark, Landmark being a startup, was there any trepidation or concern around making the jump from such an established company to, I mean, I understand the intent.
Right. Yeah, no, well, Landmark Bio is not my first startup company.
Okay, so you had,
Yeah. So it was actually the third startup company, but the second after Amgen experience. Vulture Therapeutics was also a young company.
Yeah.
When I joined, I wouldn't call it a startup. It has about 150-ish people maybe when I joined. So, but it's a much smaller company. Yeah.
What did bring you to Landmark Bio? Did you know Alan Garber before joining? How did you land there?
I don't know Alan Garber.
You don't?
Before. No, I don't. So it was probably a cold call from a recruiter. But I have read the initiative, so I learned a little bit about what they try to do. I thought they have a very unique value proposition and it's great purpose, and they're trying to do something to close the gaps, and I'm willing to help.
yeah.
You also, I think, worked to improve the manufacturing function while you were at Amgen. Correct me if I'm wrong. Were there learnings that you brought from Amgen to your positions after that, including Landmark?
Yeah, I started at Amgen as a process development scientist, and I worked in different functions in PD, manufacturing, quality, and supply chain. There are a lot of learnings in biologic development, particularly in the CMC space, and many of those learnings are applicable, including understanding of products and understanding the quality attributes, understanding how the processes affect those quality attributes, and ultimately potentially impact the outcome of the products. It's very important. There are a lot of fundamental learnings that we have gained over the past 2 decades are applicable to this new field. So that's why, when I joined Landmark Bio, even though the company is very much oriented towards biomanufacturing to provide services and to partner others, I have built a team with people come from pharmaceutical industry, have done years of work in development and commercialization of biologics. Because not just the experience in development, but also understanding how the development should be done.
Yeah. Is it the fundamentals that best translate? I'm curious because I hear this frequently. Like, we can't, as we improve the cell and gene manufacturing paradigm, we should lean into things that we've learned along the way in more traditional biologics. Is that sort of a, stick to the fundamentals conversation, or are there specific, I guess, process or manufacturing steps or lessons that translate from things like antibodies and vaccines to the cell and gene manufacturing?
Yeah, we're really getting deep in that space, right? So there is a fundamental kind of principles on how to develop a manufacturable process. We're talking about the manufacturability of the process, the scalability of the process, and the transferability of the process. Those fundamentals are the same. The principles are the same. It's just a very different modality. You have to apply the principles and maybe understand your modality.
Yeah.
And go from there. Yeah.
What would you say if you, looking back on the past 4 years at Landmark, how would you sort of characterize or quantify the progress that Landmark has contributed to addressing some of these challenges?
Yeah. So two of the unique major challenges in cell and gene therapy space are, first one is the logistical challenges, what we call it logistical challenges for patients. 8 out of 10 patients who are eligible for CAR T therapies are not able to get to the CAR T therapies because they just don't have the access. The second challenge is probably more on the company side, on the business side, the financial challenges. It takes a lot of capital to develop, manufacture, deliver the products. But with the high cost of manufacturing, cost of goods, that translates to a lower margin and a lower return on investment. So I think that challenges need to overcome so that the therapies can benefit more patients. So what Landmark Bio has done in the past few years since its launch is, this is public knowledge. We partner with Galapagos, a European cell therapy companies, and work with them to establish distributed manufacturing network. We are their first biomanufacturing partner in United States, and the goal for distributed manufacturing is to make the CAR T products close to where patients are. Many US patients, even today, if they want to get access to CAR T products, and they have to travel to where the treatment centers are established, usually in major cities like Boston, San Francisco, New York cities. But if you live some other places, it's difficult for a patient to get the treatment. Distributed manufacturing make the products closer to where patient lives, so patient can receive treatment close to where they live. So I think that's one thing that we have been working with them for a couple of years, a little bit over a year now.
Yeah.
The second challenge we're talking about is how you could reduce cost of goods. Cell and gene therapy today, most of them are ex vivo cell therapies. They take materials from patients who are donors, their cells, and doing gene modification and give back to patients. And that process is very complex. It also deals with live cells, and the products is also very complex. There are a lot of constraints in supply chain, and that all lead to higher cost of goods and a lower net margin, which is challenging. If you can only imagine that there's a way to turn the complex ex vivo cell products into something more like biologics, and you can give patients as just like a biologic injectables or IV products. And how many more patients would be able to benefit? How much lower the cost of products that could be? So one of the technological innovation area that we have been focusing on is non-viral gene delivery to be able to achieve this kind of in vivo CAR T. To leverage human body to make the products inside of the human to lower the cost of goods.
It's this may be a very naive question, but theoretically, when I think about distributed manufacturing, it occurs to me that would actually exacerbate in some ways that cost of goods and cost of distribution, supply chain issues. It seems like it would exacerbate that problem, like make it worse, because now we're taking, a few manufacturing nodes and multiplying them across the country. How do you rationalize that?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you don't have the technologies to support that kind of distributed manufacturing network, that could increase cost of goods. So manufacturing technology platform and the supply chain platform Galapagos is deployed allow manufacturing process to be very efficient, and it's very easy to tech transfer. It's closed process, 7-day vein-to-vein, electronic batch record. So you manage information data flow electronically. Everything is standardized. So I definitely see that is not your yesterday's distributed manufacturing where everything is, manual and less standardized, because it's a highly platform. It's standardized. It will reduce the errors through the transfer. It would help reduce the human errors, improve the consistency. Of course, this is something that's very new, and we will have to see in the next few years how that will work out. But we're very optimistic for that.
Yeah.
When distributed manufacturing, is that satellite manufacturing centers that are more spread out? Is it actually on site, like at a healthcare delivery center, where that happens?
Yeah, no, it's not at the bedside yet. It's in a GMP manufacturing facility that close to medical center.
And those are rapidly expanding in number at this point, or is that the goal eventually?
Well, the goal eventually is to establish many manufacturing capabilities near the medical centers where you can make the products.
And if you can standardize that process and make it really efficient, to your point, then that's how you get around raising the cost of goods.
Yeah.